Hey, there we are. It is Friday, March 6th. Welcome to the Maple Minds podcast. I'm Kristi. That's Rob and Polly. We're just three people from British Columbia, Canada, sharing opinions about things that are happening in politics and in world news. Pretty dry news cycle. I have no idea what we'll talk about today. I'm just kidding. I wish it was boring. Honestly, I truly miss boring news cycles. I miss waking up in the morning and not going, holy shit. And I think I fear it's going to get a lot worse. Rob, I'm going to start it off with where you want to go because there's just so much to talk about. I think we want to start talking about the big thing, which is the war. I will let you open up with whichever angle you want to start talking about it.
Man, I don't even know where to begin. I just find the whole thing crazy, and we're just going to open this up. I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about a war that the U.S. says isn't a war, but then they say it is a war, but it isn't a war. It isn't really a war. And at the end of the day, we all know. I mean, this is all propagated from Israel. I mean, this is Israel's war that the U.S. has just jumped into. You know, both feet in the deep end, and essentially started it on behalf of Israel. I mean, I'm just getting tired of the garbage that's happening over there, and the fact that they're going in there constantly. Just starting wars. Here's the thing: is they started the war. The president of the United States started the war. Nobody else. Congress didn't vote it in. They didn't discuss with any allies.
UN,
NATO, like UN, like nothing. Like they didn't discuss anything. They just decided to up and just go in there and basically say, "Yeah, we've got to do this." And did they really have to do it? Was it an imminent threat? Like, I mean, obviously we don't get security.
They don't know what imminent means, Rob. They do. There's no way they know. The way that some of them are using the word imminent. One guy said, I can't remember who it was. I believe it was a senator. I think it was a senator who said the fact that this has been going on years and years and years means it's imminent. Well, that's not.
Yeah.
Imminent means about to happen, like any minute now it's going to happen. So when you're saying it's stretched over years and years, that's not imminent, that's not immediate. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, said that imminent meant it was because Iran was moving at a pace that was quicker than the people that they were going to be attacked could keep up with, and that's why it was imminent. I can understand where you're using that as an example. That's not the definition of imminent, though. I think that they think that imminent is an adjective that means most dangerous, like not just normal dangerous, like more dangerous. And it doesn't. It means it's about to happen right now.
Yeah, like an imminent threat is you've got intelligence that a foreign country is about to invade your country tomorrow. You know, like they're going to invade you tomorrow. There's an imminent threat
immediately.
Like it's happening.
Is not immediately.
Yeah, it's like, well, you know, they're still doing this. They're still trying to get a nuclear capabilities, and they could have it tomorrow. So we better bomb them today, even though we bombed them last year because of it.
The closest of a timeline we got was when Trump said, I think on like day 5, well, they were 2 weeks away. If they were truly 2 weeks away, why wouldn't you lead with that 5 days ago? Why did we have to go through the different stories of, well, we knew Israel was going to hit them. We knew they were going to be pissed off about it. We knew that when they were pissed off, they were going to hit us. And that was our imminent threat, that they knew that they were going to hit us in retaliation for Israel. Wait, that's not true. We actually forced Israel's hand. And then if you listen closely to the language, and I brought this up on the last show, they never say we're in possession of weapons or we didn't have any evidence of weapons. They talked about ambition and intention. And I agree that a country like Iran having those sorts of ambitions and intentions is dangerous to the world. I don't believe if you went to court with that and said that's an imminent threat, It is a threat. 100% it's a threat. Unless it's coming like right now, it's
Yeah.
not.
You can liken this to, you know, you're at a personal war with another neighbor, right? And an imminent threat would be that neighbor coming to your door with a gun and banging on your door trying to get into your house with a gun. I would consider that an imminent threat.
Because it's going to happen immediately.
Yeah. However, your neighbor at home watching TV where you decide to go in there and start shooting him up isn't imminent. Like, they were sitting there watching TV. They're not doing anything at this point, but you're like, hey, I feel like they might do something later.
And that's more language that he used. I felt like, and even Caroline Levitt said, well, the president felt like, based on facts. Well, just give us the facts. Who gives a shit what they felt like? Give us the facts. You should be able to. And they aren't. And another thing that they're doing is, okay, so there's two things from your opening opinion that I wrote to address, and that is war, not war. I don't know if you've seen the compilations. They're quite amusing, of the difference between who is using the word war and who is going out of their way to dance around the word and call it a special combat mission, or military action, but not a war, and being very specific to say not a war. The administration, who already have their jobs, are saying war, and they want to sound tough. Trump is using the word war. Hegseth uses the word war. And the Republicans who are facing the midterm elections are being very careful. And somebody reported that they said, well, it's a matter of perception. That word invokes a lot of emotion and a lot of negative emotion. And I think that they're just worried about midterms, and they want to deny that it's a war. It isn't. Like, the president of the United States put out a post this afternoon that was reposted by the Secretary of War, or Secretary of Defense, but Secretary of War, that said, hey, we just talked to our weapons manufacturers or producers about quadrupling production at a rapid pace. You're telling me that is one mission from last weekend? If you're talking about quadruple, come on.
Yeah. Here's the interesting part, and this is for me the baffling point of all of this. And I'm sure you've seen some of the past clips of Donald Trump talking about how Harris was going to take them to war if she got elected, and we don't need a war right now. We need to build roads and infrastructure for Americans and make their lives better and whatever. And what has he done since he's been in office? Absolutely nothing but pillage the United States of America for his own gain. And now he's going to war. Like, exactly what he said he shouldn't do. Now you've got the American people that are poorer than ever. They're facing massive grocery prices because of the tariffs. They're facing lots of layoffs.
Everything's going to go up because of oil.
Yeah,
everything's going to go up when the oil price goes up.
Yeah, so now you've got another stressor on their economy for people. Meanwhile, Trump is making more money than he has ever made in his entire life in this presidency. He's making billions or hundreds of millions. He's making billions. Yeah, in his back pocket. He's making all this money while Americans are paying more. They're getting less. They're losing jobs. Nothing is happening for the United States right now, and you can see the press. Not for the regular people, only for the rich, right? And I mean, you're actually seeing a lot of mega supporters right now, and I've seen it on social media. There's a lot of people that have turned. They've had enough. Like, they're like, this is ridiculous. Like, you've got the Epstein files where there's even more stuff coming out. There's even there's a couple more people that have come out talking about Donald Trump and what he did to them, on Epstein Island. Like, this is real. Like, this guy has committed these horrible offenses to these young girls. He's getting away with it. He's starting wars. Yeah, he's being accused of it, and bro. He's still not. He's Teflon Don, right?
Don.
Right? I mean, really. and he's starting wars. He's starting to do all of these things that's trying to distract from everybody. And I mean, not necessarily these wars are to distract from the Epstein files, which I mean, a lot of people are saying, but I mean, Israel is behind the war. I mean, and he's just jumping in, obviously, for whatever reasons.
So I think it's a
background.
combination, actually. So I'm going to talk about why I think it's a combination, and then I want to go into your who started it comment. But the reason I think it's a combination, I don't believe that he did this simply to distract from the Epstein files. I think that there are multiple things that are weighing on him right now. He's got the Epstein files. They lost like 92,000 jobs last I think in January. He had the tariff thing go against him. Just today they said the Customs and Border agencies testified that no, we're not gonna, sorry, we can't pay it back. Maybe in April we can pay it back. You guys want us to pay back the tariffs that were illegal. We collected how much was it, $133 million or something. I could be wrong about that number, but yeah, they testified to say, no, we can't. I think he's got a lot going on. His disapproval rate is high. His disapproval rate far exceeds his approval rate. So this is what I think happens. I think that Netanyahu sees an opportunity. He's like, this guy's not doing well. He's going to want a way out. So I think maybe, and I don't know, because I wasn't there. This is just my opinion. I think maybe the conversation kind of goes like this. Hey, you know what would help? You know who everybody doesn't like? You would be a hero. All the Persians would totally be cheering for you. And we heard a lot. I did see more posts from people that I know that had grown up in Iran that were talking about what had happened before February 28th, who were talking about how dire it was. And please don't stop talking about Iran. We saw protests in all of the major cities. I think this guy comes along and goes, you know what, tough guy, you're going to look really good if you take out this guy that everybody else hates. And he was a bad guy. He was inarguably a bad guy that they took out. I don't have to agree with how they did it. And I don't agree with the war overall. I can understand why Persians are celebrating. And I think if you're Trump and you're down in the polls and your buddy from Israel comes by and says, you know what'll help that? You know what'll help? The thing that you accused Obama of doing. When Trump said, you know what, Obama's tanking in the polls, I bet he'll bomb Iran. He's doing what he accused other people. What's Kamala going to do? She's going to go into Iran. I just posted something on X today. It was a post of his from 2019 that he still has up on X in all caps. He said going into the Middle East would be a mistake. Anyway, that's what I think happened. I think that there were a multitude of negativities pointed at Trump, and Netanyahu said, this is a good opportunity. We should go. That's what I think. Maybe people disagree with me. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just sad. I'm sad for the Middle East. I'm sad for that entire region in which you have a group of people that have been meddled with for like 70, 80 years or even longer. So you have the Middle East in which people can constantly meddled with. And you've created this animosity towards Western civilization or the United States, which has opened the doors for these militant dictators that have been able to get into office and have created these atrocities within the Middle East. If we could rewind all the way back and basically just say, everyone stay out of the Middle East, U.S., stay out of the Middle East, let them be who they are, they would have been a thriving, amazing, like I could completely see that the Middle East would be an amazing place to go visit, and I think their lives would be so amazing right now. And unfortunately, it's not, because
all right, welcome back to the real world in the show. We're gonna exit the fairy tale now. Polly, what were you putting up? I can't read anything. It's too small. What was it?
I think it looked like a Donald Trump tweet.
It was your post that you put on.
Okay, so it was the post I was talking about. Thanks. I just
you're welcome. That's okay. I can't either without my glasses.
I can't see anything. But so I think we can agree here clearly who started this. And I think that, wow, look at what they've been doing for the last 47 years, and they've chanted death to America and stuff. Here's the
70,
thing. I
70
think
years.
sorry, pardon?
It was back in the 50s that the U.S.
It's
actually
been
went in there.
47 years. Trust me, everybody on the internet is using 47 years. Trump is using 47 years. All the Republicans are using 47 years. It's a weird argument, I think. If in October of 2024, this man campaigned on not going to Iran, and then you're saying, well, they started it before October of 2024, then why just say it? Right? But that is the message coming from the United States is they started this. They started this. And I said, okay, well, when? Like, when did they start this? And that's when they say, well, 47 years. For the last 47 years, they've been doing this. Again, why would you campaign? If your argument is that they started this a long time ago, then why would you campaign on not going in there? But they are mentioning it, and they're being subtle now, and they're doing exactly what Russia did about, well, Ukraine started it. We didn't invade, right? What are you talking about? We didn't invade Ukraine. Ukraine started it. And that's what the Fox News guys are saying. And that's what a few, the other guys started it. The message is clear that they want to say, no, we were just defending. This is just defensive. Even though preemptively defensive is offensive. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll go back in my history books, but I'm pretty sure it was in the 50s that the U.S. Overthrew someone in charge there originally.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, sure. Absolutely. That one, I think that was the Shah. The 47 years is from 1979. Remember, Ben Affleck made a movie about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in 79,
that's year mark. I'm just telling where the years.
Are you talking about like in Middle East in general, where the U.S. was funding the Afghan war versus Russia, where they basically armed the Afghanistan armies to go up against the Russians, and trained Osama bin Laden during that time to fight that proxy war with with Russia at the time, and continued a big mess in there. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
And we could go back way further than either you or I are talking about when we talk about the ills that are there. As far as the fairy tale.
In Palestine, you want to go back to Palestine? Yeah, go to Palestine. Yeah. And the British and what they did to absolutely destroy Palestine and create the mess that we're in today.
I don't believe it's fair to say that is what ignited what we're seeing as military action today, though. I think that one firmly is in the hands of Israel and the United States. I don't believe that it's a fair argument to say that the other guys started it because of a history of conflict. I think that this military action right now was started by the United States, and I think the United States is putting in a concentrated effort to try to change that narrative exactly like Russia did.
No, what I'm saying is the United States has been meddling in there for so long that they've created this massive mess that's happening in the Middle East. The U.S. has done it. The U.S. has perpetrated all of this from the beginning of time, and they've made a mess in there, and they keep trying to clean up the mess. And they can't clean up the mess because they're making even more of a mess. And the problem is we're at a point where it's such a mess that now the U.S. has to continue military operations in there to stop them from attacking them. I mean, this is the problem. Yeah. Is they've just created this massive mess over the years, and these people that are rising into power either they're taking control because it's such a mess in there, or they've gotten into those positions because of the anti-American sentiment, and you're creating these hostile people in positions of power. They've essentially done it to themselves, and now they're just trying to clean it all up. And it doesn't help when you have Israel in there, who basically who's taken the land away from Palestine and has continued to perpetrate atrocities to the people of the Middle East. They continually do it. They've taken over all this land. They keep pushing, the Palestinians out. They're creating it's a disaster. It's a disaster of epic proportions, and Israel just thinks it's okay that they can just start sending missiles and bombs to whatever countries they want, and continue to do this. And then now the U.S. is jumping in, going, "Yeah, we're doing this," and the rest of the world is looking at this, going, "What is happening right now? You guys, really, you guys are breaking international law. Like, you're essentially, they should be war criminals. They're doing things that they should not be doing." And it doesn't make sense that everyone's dancing around it now, including Carney, who's dancing around it. And I get it. Iran and the government that's in place in Iran is doing horrible things, and they should not be in the position of power in Iran, and they definitely need some sort of a regime change. But the fact that the U.S. is going in there and bombing it, and Israel's doing this, they're doing it out of
they don't have a plan.
But it's also in their own self-interest. It's not to help the people of Iran.
Exactly.
It's to go in there and seize whatever they want.
Except they have changed lately. So just a couple of things, because I do want to get to what Carney said, and I'm pretty sure we're going to disagree with it, which is going to be fun because I love to disagree with you. But just a couple of things. When you talked about how they were pushing back and trying to take over in Palestine, same thing in Lebanon. And I don't believe enough people are talking about Lebanon as we're talking about this, because as this is going on, and as the bombs are going off, and as the White House is putting up their damn video game videos, have you seen those? They're so cringy.
No, but I'm glad I didn't.
Oh, their whole their whole social media is like, it's, oh, look at us, and it looks like a video game ad. It really does. Anyway, not enough people are talking about the fact that Israel is evacuating Lebanon and then taking over parts of southern Lebanon. So it's not just Gaza, it's Lebanon as well. Mm-hmm. Another thing, when you said they're dropping bombs on all the countries, at first I was like, why do they have beef with all the other guys? Why are they firing at all the other countries? And they said, well, it's the US bases and stuff in the other countries. But what they also pointed out was, when they are taking the fight and spreading it out, they're spreading out the American resources in order to address the attacks. And somebody else is also pointed out, and I'm not from the military, I've never been in the military, so I can't confirm this, but a lot of people on the internet are pointing out the cost difference. The interceptors that Iran is using are very, very cheap compared to the very expensive equipment that and I might be getting the names wrong, but they are addressing their cheap stuff is destroying very, very expensive stuff for the United States. And so now today, Trump talks about quadrupling, weapons production and stuff too. I think this is going to be really super expensive for the United States. And I think that means that China and Russia are drooling. I do. We can either talk about that, or we can go to Carney. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go international, or do you?
No. Here's the best part is let's go Carney, because meanwhile Carney's making deals. Carney's making deals. Making deals. Canada's moving on up, man. They're moving on up. Carney's making deals. The U.S. is in a war that they probably can't win, and even if they do win, they Canadian still won't win. Up. Just saying. Yeah, I think it's exciting. Let's talk Carney. Let's go.
Okay, so his comment. So I was going to send you my video that I did about his comment. I spent my whole morning having coffee and just making Carney videos all morning because I've seen a lot of people, when he made that comment about how he won't definitively rule out boots on the ground.
Yeah.
He was asked, sorry, this is distracting me. I'm going to do this like a headband. He was
It's distracting me too. Just get that.
He was asked very specifically, will you commit to that remaining if the situation changes? Now, they worded it differently, but basically they were saying, if the situation changes, if it escalates or if it broadens, that means if it is in a different circumstance than it is today. Now, in my opinion, when I heard his answer, first of all, the very first thing after he said, when he was asked that question, was a lot of really big syllable words put together. He could have said I can't remember what the exact quote was. I clipped it for my video to say he could have said this better, but he was acknowledging that, hey, you're asking me a big hypothetical here. And in that hypothetical, in my opinion, we don't know where this is going, but for the last few years, as I have been talking about politics here, do you know how many times I have said possibility of World War III and NATO? How are you surprised that he has to say, I can't rule that out because I don't know where this is going? That was my opinion. But I've been arguing about with people all day about it because they're like, no, he changed, he flip-flopped. I think the conservatives are using it to say he flip-flopped. I think his first statement was shitty. I think that his response of I can't rule it out was because of that direct question, but I think that he could have communicated it a lot more clearly so that everybody gets it, because this is politics. This isn't a board meeting where everybody trusts the position that you've been put in. It's politics. You're judged every single day. It's not just the day that you get voted in.
Do you know which video it is?
Which video? What? My video?
Yeah, your video. Do you know what it's
the latest
called?
one that I did. The thumbnail has me pointing up to some highlighted stuff behind me because it was brought up about Jean Chrétien. And I know I say Chrétien wrong.
Was that somebody
telling you this?
Was that somebody telling you it's a BS argument?
Yeah.
Okay, here.
And it's a creator, like honestly, it's a mutual of mine that is cool with me. We just disagree on this.
I wish I could cut off the...
It's a bullshit argument, Kristi.
I disagree. In fact, I was really happy to see somebody that I really respect making the same argument.
But I don't believe this is where this statement was meant to land. It meant that if NATO is going to get involved, if NATO countries are going to be under attack.
You're playing what about isms.
Because he was answering a what about question. He wasn't just putting a statement out there like, hey, maybe we're going to do this. He was asked very specifically, what happens if the situation changes?
You've asked a fundamental hypothetical in a conflict that can spread very broadly.
I will say he could have said that better. Words. He could have said, hey, that's a really big what if, and he could have communicated more clearly why he wasn't ruling it out.
Your argument is, well, Iran is right next to Turkey. Maybe they're going to invade Turkey, at which point Canada has to go in.
Not really, but kind of close. My argument was that he was being asked to commit to something regardless of the variable. And I was giving an example of a variable that he wouldn't be able to say no to.
When Chrétien told Bush Jr. that we're not fucking going to Iraq, did you have the same argument?
Yeah, I get it. Everybody would have felt better if Carney could have had a Chrétien moment and we're not fucking going. But even Chrétien had an if in there, right? If it proceeds without new resolution of the Security Council, we won't participate. He even had an if. So if the media came up to Chrétien and said, okay, so if the Security Council gets a new resolution, will Canada participate? Do you think he's saying, nope, fuck no, we're not going? Why would he put it in there? And to be clear, that's not my whataboutism. The whole reason we're having this conversation is because Mark Carney was asked very specifically, what about if the situation changes?
No, this is about whataboutism and giving Carney an excuse.
Nope. It's hearing things pragmatically and not emotionally.
That's it. That's all. Sorry, you're absolutely in the wrong here.
Again, I disagree. I think we just heard it differently.
And I never for 1 second believed that the prime minister meant that he was going to join Donald Trump in this operation.
Neither did I. But I think that people like the gentleman challenging me saying, no, I'm absolutely wrong. I think he hears it differently than I do. And I think that is a valid criticism of Mark Carney. I think that he should deliver his messages with more sensitivity to how they're going to come across. Tell me if you disagree. Anything in the video that you disagree with, let's have a talk.
It's a bullshit argument.
Oops. Oh, no, that's starting over. Anyways, just so everybody knows, we love that mutual.
Yeah, totally. He and I, we have exchanged disagreements before.
Kristi loves it when people disagree.
I do. You know that.
Yeah.
Rob, what do you think?
No, I think people are just are reaching for things now. At the end of the day, Carney basically had outlined Iran, not a great regime. Things aren't very good there. We need to like try to facilitate change and help the people of Iran. However, the fact that the U.S. is just and Israel are just attacking them out of nowhere without with disregard to international law is the absolute right thing to say. And him turning around and it is a hypothetical question. You can't it's a hypothetical question. And it's real because people don't understand that if you're part of NATO and let's just say Iraq not necessarily, even invades Turkey, but what if they drop bombs on a different country in retaliation in some sort of way? Anything can happen at this point. Other countries might get involved. Other people now might be at risk. You can't just say, no, we're never going to do it. And then all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. And then they've got to jump in and be part of NATO. And then what? Then the people are going to be like, you said we weren't going to get involved. No, because there's always going to be this hypothetical situation where there is a potential to be part of this. And there is a potential that we need to be part of this. But what's happening right now in this small, war that's happening between Israel and the U.S. and Iran, we don't need to be a part of this. We don't want to be a part of this. We weren't brought in. We weren't notified. We weren't even asked, what our thoughts are on it. We're not part of it. We were left in the dust. So why would we stick our nose into something that we weren't part of in the first place? No one asked our opinion. No one even, brought any, who cares? That's fine. That's a war. They're doing their own thing. However, if this spirals out of control and becomes bigger and NATO needs to step in, yes, Canada has to be part of that because we are part of NATO and we are a good ally when it comes to NATO. And I mean, the fact that any conservatives or whoever wants to jump on Mark Carney, give your head a shake. You have no clue what you're even talking about at this point. Because honestly, because it's just dumb. You're just jumping on someone for some words for the sake of saying, oh, he's saying that we might go to war, but then over here he says he's not. Dude,
it's because the conservatives are running with it and they're saying, well, we want to debate before the military is being sent.
Yeah, because they're brainless. They're absolute brainless people who don't understand. They just want to jump on things for the sake of jumping on things without using their brains. Use your brain.
I think that it's an emotional thing. I really do.
People are afraid.
I say this. I've always said this. I don't believe it's an intelligence thing. I believe it's an emotional thing.
Actually, there was a study done on intelligence and voting conservative. Have you ever seen that? It was a real thing.
Here's the thing. I'm not getting pushback from the conservative. I'm getting pushback from the lefties.
Yeah.
It's all the leftists that are calling this out. Conservatives aren't even talking about this.
Leftists need to give their head a shake too.
The Conservative Party was opportunists. So they're the ones who are, really going with the headlines and saying, this. But everybody who's arguing with me is from the left.
Yeah. Well, then the leftists need to give their head a shake too.
Wow.
Really?
Like I said,
I don't think it's everybody because everybody agrees with me. I put Vodios. I can't talk today, so I'm not very good at this this podcasting thing today. But I did some videos, and everybody agrees with me that. Sorry, now I got distracted by TikTok. TikTok says it's suspending our gifts, and so I'm just like, what? Everybody agrees with the video that I made because. It's the same thing. People just don't want to get involved with Israel, and because of what Israel.
So what was your opinion? What did they agree with?
That I think that if we're going to end up getting involved, I think it's because Iran will, they will hit a NATO country, and then I think that we should only defend the NATO countries. I don't think we should go on an offensive. I don't think we should join in. I think Iraq at one point, it was just a peacekeeping mission. Our soldiers went in there to kind of just make sure that,
when Christian said we weren't participating, we didn't participate in that operation that state because a new resolution didn't come. I agree with you. And I think that that's what Mark Carney was saying when he said, because he said we're going to stand by our allies.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
what I
think
think too.
so, yeah, a lot of people think that he's talking about Trump. I don't think he's talking about Trump, because when he says that, he also says, reminder, these guys went in there without asking us and without UN. I don't believe he's talking about the United States allies. I think he's talking more about Europe, who's a lot closer to the situation. You know what I mean? We also have the situation where they're pinching off, a fifth of the oil, which affects everybody's prices everywhere, most, right? And so I think that they're talking with allies about how that's going to go. But I don't believe it's about helping the United States with Iran. I don't. I think it's about the big picture and our commitment to NATO and where this could go in a World War III kind of way. Because I'm pretty sure that the reason that all of the other American presidents turned down Netanyahu before, because I mentioned him on our last show, he said he's been talking about this for decades. And only United States, only Donald Trump did this. Why did the other guys say no? Probably because they didn't want it to turn into a World War III, I think.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you know what? It's a good thing that we'll stand up for our NATO allies, especially in Europe, right? Because they could be affected. But hell no to Israel. Like they're on their own, man. Like do not. I'll be very upset and disappointed with our government if they decide that they're going to join forces with Israel.
Yeah,
So,
they won't. They better not. We don't play that way, because when my husband was in Afghanistan, everything got investigated. Anytime a civilian was injured or unalived, it was investigated. They took everything. Like he would always tell me, "Oh, they took my journals again. They took my journals. I can't write in my journal because they took them because there's an investigation." Like anytime a civilian, anything got touched in Afghanistan, there was an investigation, and if anybody really messed up with it or targeted, like which never happened, but if they were to target it, wrongfully, they were charged, they were court-martialed. And so there was always investigations. That's the way Canada works. We don't go and just start blowing up schools. Sorry, I'm trying to be careful with my words, right? We don't do that, and we shouldn't be getting involved with anybody that does do that.
And
right?
But here's the thing, and just to be clear, there is no indication at this point that is where this is going. But in such an emotionally charged subject, it can go there sometimes, right? But at this time, there's nothing that Mark Carney has said that indicates that that's his intention. He has talked about if an ally calls, meaning if they trigger Article 5, if they're attacked, which, by the way, the United States is the only country to do that so far since having Article 5. But anyways, I'd also like to give Mark Carney credit, not for his communication style again, because I need to fix that.
Yeah,
but he could have, as a politician, he could have answered that differently. He could have said, like, not technically it would have been a lie, but politicians lie, right? It could have been a huge win for him with Canadians emotionally to say, oh yeah, no, absolutely, fuck that, we're not going in there, or some kind of version of that, right? He could have, when they asked, will this remain if the situation escalates and broadens, he could have said yeah, because that would have made him go great in the polls. It would have, except for the people who are like, that guy's full of shit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if he basically said to that question, you say, in its current state right now, we're not getting involved. This has nothing to do with us. Exactly. That's their war. However, if one of our NATO partners is under attack or is being threatened in any way, we will step up to help those NATO partners. That's all he had to do. That's all he had to say. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think the problem with everybody is they try to just take everything however they want it, so they'll take the interpretation of that in their own way. And I guess really Carney just has to work on making sure that there is no speech to have to be able to interpret one way or another, because there's all these haters, maybe on the left and on the right, on the far left, far right, that are going to jump on everything
Yes.
this guy has to say, or everything anyone has to say. And it's like, everyone get a life. Like, get a life.
That's not how
Enough.
it goes.
Enough.
That's not how
He's
it goes.
making deals.
There are going to be people who take what he and I truly believe that people hear things differently. I
do. I have ADHD. I hear things wrong all the time. Like someone
not wrong.
Send me a message. Well, yeah, differently. Because somebody will send me a message or they'll post something in the comments and I'll read it. And all of a sudden I'll be like, what a jerk. And then I'll block them. And then I'll go back and they'll come back to me and say, no, that's not what I said. And I'll reread it. And I'll be like, what did I read? Because that's not what, it happens. Like people, and it's fear. And when fear is on top of that, right, then, people are afraid. They don't want to go to war. They don't want to see this happen.
Yeah, I think it's funny because emotionally, it comes down to emotions too. I'll liken it to my driving. If I'm in a bad mood and I'm driving and someone like tries to shoot up and sneak in and cut me off and do whatever, I'm gonna be pretty pissed off at them and be like, well, like, come on, buddy, like enough. However, if I'm in a great mood and someone tries to sneak up and confront me, I'm sitting there going, I guess that guy needs to get somewhere faster than I do. But it's two different responses to the exact same thing. So, your mood really dictates how you feel and how you look at things.
And a lot of people we face, especially people who consume so much of the news, right? A lot of those headlines are designed to get clicks. There's a lot of the headlines about Carney's comment went right to Mark Carney suggests military action instead of Carney says no to a hypothetical. You know what I mean? I think that, and they're never going to put something vanilla like that out. They're never going to put a calming message out because they're going to get less clicks and they're going to get less money. It's never going to happen. I'm not saying it's bullshit. I'm saying that it is angled in a certain way to make sure you keep engaged. And the easiest way for engagement is when people are angry. TikTok is a perfect example. If I'm yelling and swearing in a TikTok, I'm going to get a lot of views. If I'm nice and calm and shit, nope. It's different. The algorithms reward rage, and the people who are putting out information put it out in a way that induces rage.
You see actually how many likes on some of those videos where like you're looking at it and you're like, this is just designed to piss people off. Like it's designed to create these emotions in people where they get angry and they have the most views. And you're like, how are these people getting all these views on this garbage? All it is a few sentences on the screen basically saying, putting out some garbage statement. And then all of a sudden you're looking at them like they got like 20,000 likes and all these comments. And you're like, all it was someone just put up some little like sentence about whatever.
Someone named For Sure CA on our TikTok said it perfectly. We filter and interpret what we hear through biases and emotions.
Totally.
Sure. Yep.
100%.
That's absolutely.
And everybody's biases.
Mine's emotional. Mine's when I'm upset or whatever. Like it's definitely emotion. I feel like I'm pretty good when it comes to biases. Like I feel very open. But if I'm in a bad mood or like I'm mad or I'm like, man, all I see is red.
So for me, if I read something, if I read a piece of news and it makes me feel a certain way, usually that's angry. But even if it's like if it's a slam and Pierre or something, and that makes me happy, anything that makes me feel, I shut down and I say, okay, I'm going to read that when I can pragmatically, because I know how much this is designed to make you, how the engagement is run off of emotions and how easy it is to manipulate people that way. Just saying.
Yeah. Nope, I agree. 100%.
Another
I get caught up in it.
Sorry?
I get caught up in it.
I get caught up in it too. I totally do. I have even retweeted something and then I found out that it's bullshit. So then I take it down and then I kind of give myself a little talk like, hey, what's up? How come you felt good? That's why you reposted it. Why didn't you step back and make sure that it's true and stuff? And it's because when stuff appeals to what we believe and it makes us feel like we're right, we love it. who doesn't like to be right?
Yeah, I agree.
Another thing that we brought up quickly though was or in passing when we were talking, we talked about the schools. So a lot of the headlines are suggesting that it has been stated that the school that was blown up in Iran on the first day, the girls' school, that was because of the United States. Now, when they asked the Secretary of War about it, he said, no, we would never deliberately attack that. That's not for us. We're just going after military bases. It's still under investigation. But a lot of people who have looked into it say that it is believed to be likely to be the United States. And I don't believe that, from what I have seen, and again, nothing has been stated yet. This is what people think so far. But there in the evidence that I have seen that people have been showing, I believe that it's reasonable to believe that they didn't target the school, but that they were still responsible for it. If they had they had computerized weapons going, and there was a school that was stationed near military bases. So I believe that it was just a planning mistake, but I don't know. Again, it wasn't definitive. It's still getting looked into. And the fact that Iran doesn't have internet is making some investigations harder.
I couldn't imagine a world like, as much as like I'm completely in disagreement over what Israel and the United States is doing, I could never imagine a world in which the United States would target a school. I mean,
I don't think
the
they
fact
would
that the fact that a school was hit in this is deeply disturbing and disgusting. And, you know, I think people need to be held accountable for whoever it was that did it or however it happened.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. If it is in fact the fault of the United States, we're talking about the administration who said that the protesters who got killed by ICE agents were domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
I don't think that I don't think anybody has any confidence that administration would, or anybody would even hold that, like, they're not going to admit it. They're never going to admit it, that it was them.
Yeah, they'll just be like, moving
fault.
on. We've got a lot of stuff going on, you know, blah, 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 blah. And nothing is ever going to come of it. And I mean, that's probably the disgusting part about it, is that there won't be any accountability, you know, towards who did it. Like, it'll just be passed over. And it's old news. It's old news. We're moving on. It's part of war.
There's a lot of things that people in the American administration should be held accountable for.
No.
I think this is just one of them.
It's growing.
But there's a lot of suggestion that, you know, in the next term, if a Democrat gets in, that these people will face accountability, maybe even face some jail time or something. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that's likely?
No, nothing's going to come of it. I don't think anything's going to come of it. I mean, and nothing comes of anything. I mean, you have citizens in the, like, United States citizens in the streets getting gunned down by ICE agents that everyone can clearly see should never have happened, and nothing comes of it. Nothing comes of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, bombing a school in Iran, I mean, really, that's you think that's even gonna, like, top a list of, you know, deplorable things that these people have done?
Well, they'll find somebody. They'll find some, like, if they've shown that the U.S. is the one responsible for the school, they'll find somebody in the lower ranks, somebody in the military to blame, somebody who's going to take it all on, even if they didn't do anything wrong.
Well,
I feel like honestly, they're not even going to do that. I feel like they just won't. They'll just pass it over. Okay, yeah, things happen, and they're going to move on, and they're going to just pretend like it never happened, and they're just going to keep going, because we're talking about something that's going to be however many days old by the time it even comes out as to who actually did it, and by then it'll be like, okay, anyway, these are the things that are happening today, you know, and then move on. I mean, that's just,
you know what, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think that what Paulie said is a possibility. But I actually think it's more likely that Rob is right. I think that they're just going to keep talking about something else. And
a lot of people agree with Rob.
Pardon?
A lot of people agree with Rob and not me.
I'm sorry.
Just kidding.
Sorry. Hey, I wish there was some sort of accountability, but I mean, we've seen zero accountability now for how long? Like literally
Yeah.
zero accountability. Zero.
Yeah.
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 That's the sad part.
So there was a little bit today. If we can just move, we got
Oh, yeah.
11 minutes left. Just
Okay,
a little
look,
bit
look.
with Kristi Noem getting the boot. So she got fired from being the Secretary of Homeland
still has a job.
Security, but then she got put into a made-up position of special envoy to the Western Hemisphere's shield or something. Does that mean that she's going to be trying to make us the 51st state? Jeez. So here's what I think. I made a video about her too. I think that this woman who does not know what habeas corpus means, this woman who lied about the protesters who were killed at the hands of her ICE agents being domestic terrorists, I think she got fired because she made Donald Trump look like he made a bad financial call. Yeah. I truly believe this because she testified that he approved the $220 million for her to ride a horse in front of Mount Rushmore and make ads, which, by the way, the company that contract went to was owned by her old spokesperson's husband, the lady who would go on Fox News and say, "We're catching child pedophiles." That lady, her husband got the part of the contract to make these videos. And the other person who got the contract is somebody who only made their company 11 days before they got millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. And she said, yep, Donald Trump knew about it. And then Kennedy, who asked her about it, said, then I got a phone call from Trump and he said, I hope you don't think that I knew anything about this. He cares more about people thinking that he made a $220 million mistake than the fact that, yeah, they were domestic terrorists and that's okay. I can have a Homeland Security person who doesn't know what habeas corpus means. We live in a ridiculous world.
I mean, here's the thing is if she had not thrown him under the bus, and I mean, it wasn't even like she legitimately threw him under the bus. They asked her and she agreed. Yeah, Donald Trump gave me the approval for whatever. As soon as that happened, there was like everyone online was basically saying she's done now. I mean, it didn't matter that she's got a bedroom on her plane so that creepy. Her and Corey Lewandowski were flying on. Allegedly. Like,
I heard another rumor that he's out.
Does she still get to fly in that plane though? Does she still get to go in the plane with the bedroom? And does she still get to fly with Corey Lewandowski?
Her husband was sitting right there when they brought it up too in the Congress.
Her husband was there.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why he was there. I don't know if it was bring your husband to work day or something. But can you imagine? Can you imagine getting grilled with such strong evidence and just having such weak answers too? And
not even once saying I did not have sexual relationship. I mean, even Bill Clinton. Even Bill Clinton said I had no sexual relations. He lied. Why couldn't she just lie? Like,
but the Dow's up. The Dow's up. The Dow.
The Dow is not up anymore. Donald Trump said that yesterday too. He said the Dow, we hit a record with the Dow because he was talking about Iran, and we hit a record with the Dow. It was either Iran or Epstein. I can't remember what it was. Probably Iran. And then he said we're at 50. No, you're not at 50 anymore. You're at 47.5, which is not 50.
Yeah. Well, he rounds up for everything. I think everything. Sure, everything.
He lies. The man's a liar.
Yeah, but I think it's funny though. That, I mean, I still think it's funny that Kristi Noem still has a job. Like, I mean, like she's still getting paid. She still has a job, and now she has no real accountability because I don't think that job has accountability over what they have to do. I don't even know what you would be doing on a day-to-day basis. What emails are you answering? What are you doing in that position?
I don't know.
I want to look it up just to sort of see.
Think that's us. Or
something about cartels.
Oh, cartels. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm gonna look it up.
You can have more outfit changes and costumes and shit. That's all it was. It was just cosplaying as somebody who is. So I have to say too, and I don't like shaming people about getting Botox or anything. If they want to get Botox. That's totally up to you. And I'm not shaming anybody about the way they look, but I think it's funny when one of the late night guys said, Kristi Noem said, if my face could move right now, I would look really sad. It's funny.
That's That's hilarious. That is
I don't like
hilarious.
South Park. I don't normally watch South Park, but I have been watching it with the newest seasons with Kristi Noem and talking about Trump, and it's freaking hilarious.
I
I
haven't
love South
watched
Park.
South Park since I think like the early 2000s.
I know. Well, you should watch these episodes.
I remember watching South Park from the very beginning. Those guys are awesome. I mean,
watched it,
they
like, at the
really are
beginning,
good.
and then I it was a long time ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
Kristi,
that
you
was a
should
long
watch
time.
you should watch the current season right now.
Watch the current
It's
season.
all political.
Yeah, and
You know,
I got a
Trump,
homework assignment, I guess.
especially Trump and Satan. Like some of
Yeah.
those are like, if you
I've seen
haven't
some of
even
the
seen this,
clips.
have you seen the clip? Okay, good. Because I mean, they're hilarious. They're
But they bought a site, didn't they? They just bought a site
yeah,
for
a
Trump.
website.
A
Yeah,
website.
that they're trashing.
Yeah, for Baron Trump to get
Oh yeah. What's that word I'm
drafted.
looking for? The
Drafted.
draft. Yeah, draft.
Yeah. They want Baron Trump to get
Baron Trump.
drafted. They started a website up about Baron Trump getting drafted into the.
I heard he was too tall and had genetic
Bone
bone spurs like his dad.
Bone spurs. There that runs genetically, I believe. I remember when
I'm pretty sure he would love to go there and help, but he just can't.
my husband said something about getting drafted. I don't know how old this guy thinks he is. He's going to turn 55 pretty soon. But he says to me something like, oh, what if they draft me? What if I have to go? I'll go fight. And I'm like, they don't want your old ass. Worry about your son, man. Like, you're old. You're not going. You know him, so it's funny.
I think it's because I see it's funny. I'll go with him. Him and I will go together.
No, you two are a bad combo.
Everyone would have to look out.
Yes. So we didn't cover a wide array of topics today, but I think we covered the one that most people have been talking about. Again, Mark Carney hasn't said that he is considering military. He just said that he can't rule it out. But I believe that our one of our top military officials too said that they were talking with our allies or with our partners. Now, there's two different terms when they talk about other countries. When they talk about their partners, they're talking about countries in the Gulf that they're partnered with in other ways, in like business ways, like countries like Kuwait and Qatar and the UAE. When they talk about allies, they talk about countries that are in NATO. And there aren't any Gulf, there's none in the Gulf that are in NATO. But a little bit beside that, on the border of Iran, is Turkey, which is NATO. When I use Turkey as an example before, it's not just that they're on the border of Iran. It could be that, like I was talking about before, if Europe gets pulled in with anything else and they call us, this thing could get really big and really ugly. And as much as the United States talks about how much they're winning and death and destruction from the sky, and don't worry, we're squashing them, they've also said, well, we have complete control of the air and the water. Well, bullshit. Because if you had complete control of the air and the water, number one, you'd be able to get everybody back by now, and number two, we'd be able to get oil through. Just saying.
I know we're going to be wrapping up soon, and I just want to say for everyone who's in this conflict, this war, whatever you want to call it, whether it's the service men and women that are in the U.S. fighting this, and the people in Iran who are fighting, everyone involved, the civilians that may lose their lives in this. I say my thoughts and prayers are out to you guys. I'm not a religious person, but thoughts and prayers are definitely out for all of you, and I hope everyone stays safe and this unjust, ridiculous war ends peacefully.
I can't say anything better than that. We're going to wrap it up now, because that was the perfect ending. It really was. I agree with every single word you said.
Yeah,
I think
awesome.
that, and I think what's frustrating about war is that the people who make the decisions about the war aren't the ones that die, and aren't the ones that have to bury family members. So I echo Rob's message about hoping that everybody stays safe And with that, we're going to wrap it up and remind you to come back on Tuesday, 5 o'clock Pacific. So this is what's going to happen. We're going to change our clocks forward this time. So we're going to be normal. And then in 6 months, I'm not going to know what fucking time it is at all. But I know what time it is now. And I know I'll see everybody next Tuesday, 5 o'clock. Thank you very much for joining us.
Awesome. So my van is going to be the right time.
Yeah.
Forever after this.
Forever and ever and ever. All right, everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for the
Bye.
gifts. See you Tuesday.